Hi everyone, this is Shivani. You see me at every LeadSquared webinar. Today is the exclusive session for those in the real estate sector. So it's an exclusive session for anyone, of course, in real estate and anyone else who is looking to learn what is happening in the sector. So I have two speakers with me here who are Venu and Ashish, who will be taking us through the session. But before we dive into that, let me just go over what we will be covering today. Essentially, we will be covering Xanadu's journey, and you will hear more about that in a bit. And mainly how they were, able to cope with the changes that coronavirus pandemic brought in, and the things they had to do to sort of cope with those challenges and succeed. So we will hear more about that from Ashish and Venu. So Ashish, why don't you go first? Please share a few lines about yourself and of course, Xanadu and the success they have achieved.
Yeah, thanks, Shivani, and warm welcome to everyone here. So I'm Ashish Roy. I head the direct sales at Xanadu, and I have been into big data analytics, the right sort of innovation trend, and most important, business translation. That is the key critical thing in any business. So that has been my forte, and of course, we have moved ahead from a normal selling. So believe in consultative selling. So that's the key piece which I handle, and of course, in innovation, machine learning is something which is very, very critical. So that part also I handle here for the direct sales.
Okay, thank you so much, Ashish. Venu, if you could also please share a few lines about yourself. You've recently joined LeadSquared, so how has that experience been? Yeah, do share your thoughts.
Thanks, Shivani. Warm welcome to everyone. It's exciting to be here at this webinar. Joining LeadSquare is one of the best exciting thing. I've been there in sales for almost 20 years plus. Internet technologies, real estate, education, and then now into SaaS and CRM. A fantastic place. And I had the direct sales, inside sales for LeadSquare. And on this particular webinar, we are presenting the entire effort is to put across in terms of how Ashish has used LeadSquare and his company Xanadu has used the LeadSquare, and how it has helped them to increase the sales efficiency. As we say in LeadSquare, we sell sales efficiency. I mean, that's the point which I would like to drive.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Before we go ahead, quick reminder to those who have joined us today, and I see a big number there. Please keep your questions coming. We will get the presenters to answer the questions as and when we get a break or mostly towards the end of the session, but do keep your questions coming. So back to you now, Ashish. Please take the session ahead.
Sure. Thanks, Shivani. Thanks, Venu. So I'll quickly jump to the key critical thing, and I'll just take everyone back last year when we all were hit with the pandemic situation. And we being the best business accelerators, the biggest concern was that, yes, things were changing. The mood of consumers were also changed. Everything was getting down and in a gloomy situation wherein the clarity was not there. And real estate was the sector which was hit worst. And everybody was trying to find the best solution that how we can go ahead. So that was the important part. So I'll just talk a little bit about how the consumer behavior changed and what we quickly analyzed, and basis that we did a change in our strategy and processes, which really led to the high volume of sales. So very quickly we found out that yes, because of this lockdown and the situation which happened, everybody was at home. So we started thinking about the positives which can be taken out. So if everybody is at home, it means the decision making can be very, very fast. Everybody is with the family. That's one of the reasons when a lot of consumers say that we have to take a decision and take some time for that. So that was one of the important positive aspect also during pandemic. And digital penetration was something wherein everybody started working on the digital medium. But the right mix and segmentation of consumer understanding was the key critical thing to understand that what sort of customers can be approached at what medium, and how they can close the things, or their business requirements or their buying needs can be closed ASAP. So that identification was the key critical thing, and these are the positives which happened during the pandemic, and we were good enough to find out how it has to be handled. it also happened that during this time there was a lot of revival from the government side, and the loan rates going down, the home loans becoming easy, and a lot of tech interventions during that time, and consumers also getting positive about the virtual sales, and reduction in the stamp duty finally also helped to give a jump start into this. So I'll tell you something very, if you can see the graph, how we started our journey. So you see in April, June, there was a big dip, but after that, there was no looking back, and the trend of overall revenue, and these are the exclusive like 2,200 crore we generated during this financial year. And JFM period, we hit and ended with a whopping 875 crores of business. So that's the impact of if we do the things the correct way, and backed by a lot of important things, so which I will take you through in the next upcoming slides and give more clarity about it. So that's what we believe is a phenomenal turnaround, and during the pandemic also we were able to clock those numbers, and no looking back. So most important thing, and just wanted to give more clarity on this. Human tech seems to be like a very simple term, but it's a key critical thing, and at Xanadu we realize it well in advance. And a lot of people go into a lot of technology and innovation, and there are a lot of things available, but the right mix of the business intelligence is the key critical thing, and also understanding the right tech platform, and with the proper segmentation is the key critical thing. So during this time we focused a lot on the experts and the right assessment of the technology, which can actually help in influencing the buyers, and it really worked out well. So that's the key critical thing. If you say the first major thing which really impacts, that if you have the right mix of business intelligence and backed with the right set of technology, so not just getting into haywire into everything. And one thing which is not mentioned on the slide is about the right understanding of big data and getting into the right analytics, and that leads to the best of the output and the closure. So while a lot of people, a lot of teams work on the basic geographic detailing of any consumer pattern, or going a little bit step ahead in terms of demographics. So with the big data analytics, we were able to get into the psychographic and the behavioral patterns also. That's a key critical thing, but backed by a really good tool and also a good tech platform, because it's a journey, it's a life cycle management. A lot of consumers will not be able to take a decision at the right time, but not exactly at quickest of the time. So everybody has their waiting time period, but having a good omni-channel platform is the key critical thing. It should be a very lucid. It should allow you to track a consumer requirement till a long period, because today if somebody is interested, he might take some time to close the deal. It's not about right now, it's about when is the best time for the consumer to buy, and that's the key to success. But that requires a lucid tech platform in between, and that is where we focused, along with the investment in the human. And that is these two parameters are very critical, and that really led to the success. So Venu, would you like to talk about this more, and in between I'll be
Yeah, sure. So Ashish, I'm sure you would have used this particular tool, you would have used this particular product attribute feature at Xanadu, and would you explain, or would you put across in terms of how this has helped you? You have monitored it very closely.
Right. So now, if coming to more of detailing in real estate, or you can say any of the industries, generation of leads is not a very tough task. So getting leads, ample quantum of leads can be generated. It can be at a very low cost per lead also. And but the most important thing is the business translation. Biggest challenge and biggest thing wherein people get confused, and it's a key thing for everyone, is that generally people do a mistake in terms of looking these two distribution activity and the lead generation activity separately, and a separate way of handling the things.
Right.
But it's very important that if the platform is good, lucid enough, it's really allows you to integrate this. And our important focus is also on that, how the platforms help us to integrate it, and business translation is the key thing. Generation of leads, more important than generation of leads is that how each and every lead can be handled well and it can get to a business translation. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think just to put it across here, because I've been there in the other side of the table in terms of the real estate sector. So when we get the leads, generally the word we use is response, because these are the response, and you use this responses, and the platform like LeadSquared, which sells sales efficiency, has ensured that these leads, so these responses are qualified into leads. So can you explain that particular journey?
Yes. So see, when you talk about a qualification, that is very critical, because see, any point of time, because of though somewhat is mentioned in the upcoming slides, but I just want to touch this important point. During this pandemic and whatever the current situation also is, the effect of digital medium is that customer decision making has to be like, I have to be very fast on getting to the customer, because on the digital platform, the customer moves very fast. So from one project to project, he might be exploring. So whosoever reaches first and with the right set of what you can say, communication to the customer. So understanding that lead is very critical. So qualification criteria can be n number of things, but the key critical thing is that what is his actually need, and whether I'm able to understand his need and give him the right set of understanding about that product. So the first call or the first interaction is very critical. I have to crack it. So maximum information about that customer or a prospect, we say, is very critical. So that is where lead qualification is important. I think we have worked hard in terms of making a lead quality score of a consumer with a lot of complex algorithm, but making it very, very handy and useful for the front-end users, so that they can understand that what does this lead score or a call score means, and how and what sort of segment connect with that.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I'll
yes,
sorry,
please. Yeah, please go ahead.
So while this depicts a simple journey about any medium from wherever a interested customer has tried to connect with that, but it's very important that whether the distribution of that particular inquiry is going to the right set of people, and whether he is being attended at the right time, and plus they have gone through a journey. So here I'll just like to indicate that it's not about there is a further integration with the systems, which is very, very critical. I was talking a lot about big data, which is the key critical thing. So big data is not a one-time activity. It's an ongoing process wherein you start refining each and everything. You talk back to the system. A little bit of machine learning is involved into that, wherein the customer in the system itself understands that, okay, this lead has come from X place. What are his psychographic details, what are the behavioral details, what are the geographical details, and basis that the entire intel puts into gets into the front end, so that the proper segmentation, the allocation to the right set of people happens, and the right communication goes.
Right.
Okay. So you would like to talk about this?
Yeah, I think so on the last slide we understood in terms of how the leads are coming through different channels, how LeadSquared helps you in terms of ensuring that all the leads are put across or they are organized in a proper way, how it can be allocated, how you can make sure that the leads are not missed, proper follow-up is done, and the mails are sent across, proper text communication is sent across. In short, you make sure the efficiency and the efficiency is built across in such a way that the efficacy comes across, effectiveness is there in the system. So that is what the last slide put across, the entire journey of a lead. So the most important thing here is that, as you rightly pointed out, in real estate, it's not difficult to generate the responses and qualify them as a lead, which LeadSquared helps across to do it across. But which is also important here is that the lead should not be missed, in terms of there should not be a follow-up mistake from our side, or a miss in follow-up, or no lead should be not followed in the system, that you're not missing out. So that is also important in terms of lead per person, per segment, per SKU, per geography for different projects. Because from a builder perspective, you may have you may generate a lot of leads, and the leads comes from different sources, different geographies, for different budget, for different SKUs, for different projects. But ensuring that this is properly organized, properly collated, properly segmented, to ensure that it goes to the right person, it is followed rightly. So the customer who is calling is not disappointed that he is not given attention. So,
Right.
I mean, the zero leakage from the campaigns, different campaigns or different channels explains that. So my request here is that if you can put across this, how this particular attribute of LeadSquared, this particular feature help you to manage that, because this is the most important point.
Yeah. So, getting into this, I would also like to emphasize on one key critical thing. While I'm strongly a strong believer, and the entire organization also strongly believes that big data is the main thing, and really expertise on this point helps.
Right.
So a customer also interacts through various channels, and also interacts with multiple set of people while going through the a journey till the time the closure happens, or even post closure, because I strongly believe that post closure also there is a real estate life cycle of a consumer, and that has to be well understood.
Correct.
And that you can garner further benefits from a consumer to get into more of the business. So
Right.
all this information is very, very vital. A lot of systems are not able to capture, a lot of people do not work around this. But whenever a consumer is getting into any discussions, all this information has to be disseminated well into the system, because each and every text conversion into analytics is very important, and that really gives you a mix and allows you to connect with the customer at the right time and the right channel also. A lot of times people do a mistake in terms of planning a system
True.
one to all. Okay, but here it
True.
allows and flexibility that, okay, which is the preferred channel and which is the preferred timing for a consumer, wherein this is the right channel to approach this particular consumer. And this really allows you to ensure that none of the leads or none of the consumers are not connected at the right time. Because if you are not getting into it, as I told, digital medium is very, very fast. It tickles the brain very fast, and consumer can go from X to Z immediately. So it has to be wherein every information of the customer should be captured well, and it really translates into the big data analytics. And in reverse, it really comforts you to go back to the customer and ensuring that none of the leads are missed, and whatever is the journey timeline of a consumer is well in front of the system. You are aware that, okay, this is the right time to connect now. It might not be today, it might be not tomorrow, it might be a certain day, X date, X time, and through X channel. So it really this is how, and as you rightly said, every lead is important. It might not be a closure right now, but yes, how and when it has to be done, that requires a good system, and it really helps.
I'm just going to jump in here, since you were talking about channels, and we also got a question that came in at that point. So in your experience, Ashish, which channels have really grown or have been most beneficial to real estate businesses during the pandemic so far? I mean, it is still ongoing, but which channels really helped?
See, I have a different perspective around it. It's about that how actually you want to drive that channel. But as I said, digital medium has seen an upsurge. The overall penetration, as per McKinsey, also has increased. It has from a 0.06, it has moved to 1.9% across the globe. So social media, and especially Facebook, is Facebook, or you can say Google. But the real thing lies in the expertise, that how and what sort of target segments you are driving it. As I said, that people do a mistake in terms of just getting into the demographics, basically geographic level, and a little bit into demographics. It's much and above that. It's getting into the psychographic level and the behavioral levels of a consumer. So that really requires expertise. So we have invested a lot in terms of our digital technology, and as I said, human tech is the key critical thing. So we have seen upsurge across all the channels. We have elevated and worked on those channels. Key critical thing which I also hold is the telecalling activity. So the inside sales has seen during pandemic, and even now, that's where a lot of people rely on indirect distribution. We have focused a lot on the direct distribution, and that also has seen an upsurge. If you, as I told you, if you connect with the right consumer at the right time with the right content, it really works out well. So during pandemic, of course, a lot of people were available at home, available to take calls also, and kind enough to have a discussion. But the quality really matters, that what sort of communication is started with. So but technically, if you say digital channels, of course, got an elevation, and likewise we saw an upsurge in the telecalling activities.
Okay, back to you, Venu.
Yeah, so Ashish, the going at the attributes, if you can move to the next slide, we can take it from there, because that gives an interactive. Yeah. So the other point here is that when you connect with your customers, and it comes to there is a shelf life, as you rightly said, there is a shelf life of the lead. There's a lead cycle which is being nurtured, and there is a proper engagement which is to be done. The platform offers you the ability and the scope in terms of creating beautiful landing pages, which can be customized project basis, which also can be changed, and which also can be fit into the way you want to visualize and send it to the customer. So in real estate, that's very, very important, because it's important to present the entire information in a very pleasing way to the customers. So if you could just throw some lights in terms of how this landing pages helps, this particular attribute in our platform helps to you, please.
Yeah, so Venu, this really, as I told you, whenever a customer starts thinking, or a prospect starts thinking that, okay, I have to get environment, if the right set of landing pages are there, and if that sort of information is flashed to the consumer, because as I said, digital penetration has increased, people are more prone on the digital channels. Mobile is something which anybody and every time carries, so that will be always there, and the right sort of content really helps, because that attracts and draws a lot of attention, and this is where the clicks rate goes up. So it really helped, because to generate a lot of inquiries, and it's very, very customizable and real time. So as I said, because we strongly use big data analytics, and that is an ongoing one. So as soon as, because we hold the entire databases of all the people who are living in Mumbai or certain other locations, with a lot of other attributes, which keeps on increasing with what sort of penetration the customer is showing. So any new click, anything, any update also goes back to the system. It talks back to the system again. And that is how it also allows us to refine the content of the landing pages.
Fantastic. So Ashish, I'll take it from here, and I'll share my screen and speak on the attributes. And I would request your comment on each of the particular features and the USPs of the platform and how it has helped you. I mean, that will help me a lot.
Sure, will do, Wayne. Thank you.
So, we have covered this, and so how do you reduce the response time and increase the agent efficiency? Because this is one of the key features whereby we make sure that there should not be slack time. You know, for example, there's a response which has come, a lead which has come, and how do you ensure that this reach out to the particular customer is instantaneous? The turnaround time should be less, and it should be done in the right way. When I'm saying right way, the lead should be going to the person who is qualified to speak, to give the proper information, to ensure that the right project features and the benefits are explained. So the distribution of leads, do you do it project basis? Do you do it in terms of category A, B, C? How do you do this thing?
Okay, so I'll tell you about this. It's a very what you can say, algorithm wise and systemic wise, it's very complex, but it really, if done well, it really helps. So first point is, yes, whenever the inquiry is there, it has to be handled well. So we follow very strong turnaround all the inquiries which are coming in. So like 10 to 15 minutes is the standard which we adhere to, because within this time, if we connect with the consumer, then the consumer is in the same zone, and then we can have a very good discussion around that. And there are a lot of off time hours and all time when the inquiries are also coming in. During the pandemic, of course, the working hours, or you can say the inquiry timelines have changed. So that also technically we have improvised, wherein a customer can be connected any point of time, because a lot of customers have a different requirement. They want the call or any response time. But most important is that how and what sort of communication is going in terms of acknowledging the customer and giving a good read up material till the time actual human interaction happens with that. So the first point is that whether we are able to distribute it in the right way. So the distribution, because of the algorithm, it allows us to integrate with the LeadSquared also. And there is as I said, it is integrated with big data also. So basis the requirement of a consumer, whether he falls into a residential segment or a commercial segment, then is it affordable, or is it aspirational category or a luxury category? And likewise, there is a scoring pattern for the consumer. There is a scoring pattern for the what you can say. If I talk about the call center or the contact center, we also follow a scoring pattern there. So basis the best scoring and matchup, the leads are distributed, while all these system information is being captured about the preferences or the budget or the location. So it really allows us to mix. So even we go deep dive into that level, wherein the language compatibility is there. So for certain ethnicity, okay, we try to connect with that sort of agent, because then the language connect can be much better and the communication can be very, very simpler. So that really helps. And second point is about acknowledging at the off working hours or any point of time when the customer is not connected immediately. So a good read up material with a good content and the right time and seeking an appointment. So that is all automated, and wherein the integration of the chatbots and different channels come, wherein the consumer is comfortable enough to interact with, and they can have their initial understanding about the project and then go to the deep level discussion, or you can say the human interaction in the second phase.
Yeah, so just to put across emphasize on a point in terms of the distribution of leads automatically, this particular feature in LeadSquared helps in terms of ensuring that the algo is written in such a way that the leads, once you define it, once you give an automation to that, the leads are distributed automatically to different teams, to different people. And if they are not on a working hours, they are on a leave, the system itself takes care to ensure that the lead is not passed, so that the turnaround time in terms of calling or reaching out to the customer is minimum and no lead is wasted. So that's one of the beautiful feature which helps in terms of ensuring that every customer is being reached out at the proper time. So moving to the next particular feature, which I'm sure you would be using, is in terms of automate response to prospects. I mean, this is something which helps in terms of keeping the lead warm, and automate agent notification also, which happens on the fly. I would also draw your attention in terms of how did you use this in terms of segment the leads. When I'm saying segment the leads, it's not about residential and commercial. It is about segment of leads in terms of cold, warm, and hot, in the sense that you reached out to a customer says that, well, I'm interested in the project, but you call me after 30 days, you call me after 60 days, or you call me after 90 days, or you call me after a different time duration, or they would say that you send across. So the platform has built in terms of engagement score, lead score, lead quality also, the three important attributes, which helps to define the lead at a micro level, where the intelligence is built across, which helps the agent to ensure that he can pick up the leads to call on a priority basis on the day when he's starting his day, and the focus is given in terms of those priority leads, which will help the agent to close it better. How did you use this particular feature which helped you for your sales?
Yeah, so the system is too compatible, and we have added a lot of what you can say intelligence into this also. And one point you were saying about segmenting in terms of hot, warm, and cold. So we have moved to a different level, wherein the band concept is included into it, and it's not about collecting more and more data. That is important, but most important is that how we make use of the data which we are collecting from a consumer or the information sort of customer, right? And certain information which can be fed directly with the system with the help of our big data analytics and other things. So key critical, as I say, that finally it has to be made lucid for the front end or anybody who is using the front end interacting with the customer. So key critical thing other than your budget and all is that whether the authority level of consumer is in the right phase, the need mapping is important, and the third point is timeline. And in authority levels, there are multiple levels of a consumer. He might be the decision maker, or he might be just an influencer, or he might be into the first stage only right now. So that stage mapping, as you rightly said, with we try to collect a lot of information from the consumer, and that is not direct, that is in via an indirect communication. The system allowed us to collect a lot of information, and on the fly a lot of changes wherein, okay, this sort of information is key critical for a particular level of project and all. So then automatically it helps us to segment the set of customers. As you rightly said, we also follow a principle and using the system in that way, wherein, okay, this consumer can be my first priority. So whosoever has the best score and mix and match with the band requirements, this is where we get into it. And this is how the real-time closures also, in terms of be it site walk-in is the thing, but without that the business closure cannot happen. So we are more focused at how the business translation happens, which consumer is right now ready and ripe and good enough to get into a decision making, and whatever is requirement. That also one important point. It's not about only that, okay, that customer has to be approached first and basis different preferences have to go into the second level of communication or get into the physical site walk-in there. It's all about that what sort of information is going towards the second human interaction which is going to happen. So whether the other person is with all information, and the a lot of times there's a mistake wherein every communication starts from beginning. So I personally have experience in different interactions across different industry wherein I have to repeat myself. I have to start again from scratch after having first or second 2 rounds of communication. This also allows, and we strongly follow this, wherein the communication is transferred and it starts from the second level wherein the information is already ready. The other party, beat, like suppose an example of a closure manager who is talking. So he starts with a lot of information already in hand. So that really gives a customer a good understanding that, okay, we know each and everything about his requirement. We can sharp target the communication, and that really helps to get into the closures fast.
Fantastic. Because just to put across to the viewers, this is one of the important attribute in terms of when we put across the point that we sell sales efficiency. From an agent perspective, it's similarly impossible to follow a lead, memorizing it, understanding it, doing it diligently. But the platform is built in such a way that it puts across the lead square, the engagement square, and the lead quality, which helps the particular agent, the telecaller, or the person who is following the lead to ensure to prioritize which leads to go after in a day and which leads to go after in the next day. That creates a routine in terms of creating a proper funnel, which helps in terms of a closure. Also, to put across a strong point from a builder perspective, any customer is coming to you, he is going to 10 other builders also, because you are also competing from a project perspective from different builders in terms of price band, in terms of location, or maybe in SKU, or maybe in the total offerings holistically. So in this particular aspect, how do you ensure that the team is on toes to get the business so that this is being properly followed? So the question here is that what particular USP or single particular USP you follow? I understand that diligent follow-up, and Ashish, you would be in terms of making sure that every lead is properly turned around. Knowing you, I know that you'd be doing that very proper job. But how does you as a firm to ensure that every lead or that particular USP differentiation at a lead level is done to make sure that there's a differentiation created from the competition to ensure the business is for Xanadu?
So as I was telling, I'll just try to answer it correctly. As I said, that need understanding of a consumer is very critical, and of course that is an elevated sort of communication which we focus on. That's from the quality perspective, and that is where a lot of differential training is done at the direct sales unit also, so that the way, because any this customer, as you say, will get calls from different developers also, or from different channels and different ways. How I can be different is very critical, and that really happens from the sort of communication and what is the first statement we are getting into it. It cannot be a other call. Important point is that whether how much I am ready with the information of a consumer. Okay, it's about having a discussion which starts hitting the pulse, wherein customer knows that okay, at least my information is there. This sort of information is already there, and everybody has a certain segment. So if you see, we have such information and algorithm which we have customized into the system further, wherein a consumer in a portion might be only interested about the financial planning and the financial product in that, or might be only interested in certain geographical details of the product, or only the amenity sort of product. But that sort of deep segmentation also we have done, which really allows you to talk more elaborate about that particular thing which interests the customer. It's not about blasting the customer with all sort of information from A to Z. It's about, if he wants C, first of all we'll discuss about that information, and that really as you are coming on to this quality criteria and lead scoring, so we also focus on that okay, this is the segment wherein customer is more interested in, and that is where the more talking has to happen, wherein it excites the customers.
Yeah. So this lead criteria, I'm sure in terms of the platform has given the benefit. That's the reason on the pandemic it has really turned around the sales for you. And hats off to you and your team. You have used the LeadSquared platform to its fullest efficiency, which has helped you in terms of ensuring that the leads captured from the entire digital medium is churned properly, nurtured properly, and engaged properly. So if you can put across in terms of how this lead quality criteria, how is that algo in the system helped you specific to lead quality criteria?
Yeah, I'll touch a little bit on that, because it was a lot of business intel has gone into it. At backend level, of course, it's too complex in terms of fitting up that okay. But lead criteria and lead scoring, some of the basic things is of course that what sort of requirements the consumer is having, what sort of history in our entire system the customer carries with, how has been his responses every time whenever I have connected with him, what has been his verbatim. So that also we have taken into consideration to arrive into it, because if you say technology has to evolve to that level wherein if we are talking, we can understand that okay, what is the actual intention behind it. So we have at least moved to that level wherein the text and text to speech understanding is taken, and the text is being captured well, and that goes into the scoring criteria also. From the digital side, even we have integrated a lot of information that how he has come to the digital medium, what is his common interactions around digital platforms, and this all information really helps us to arrive to a right score. And a lot of hit and trial testing we have done that, and basis that a lot of changes, and thanks that the system allows us to quickly modify and get into real-time understanding and the system learning and all. And as I told you, we have integrated further with the big data analytics. So it's a key critical thing wherein the entire customer journey and interaction around different platforms are being captured, and it goes into the system, back into the system, which really helps to refine the quality score. And the system learns itself, because we study the entire pattern, that how the scoring pattern is leading to the business translation, and that is where the refinement happens. So I have some of the questions I have been able to answer well.
Yeah, so this is something, we all love that, how do you automate your sales recommendation so that the agent's job becomes a bit easy, and he knows that, how to pitch in to do the killing of last mile sales. When I was speaking to other real estate players who are our customers and who have been in our prospect list to use our platform, so the key attribute which has helped them is that the algo which is written in such a way, and the way the entire platform is designed, because the adaptability is easy, which is which is the most important thing, because it's not about the intelligence, it's not about the algo, it's not about the feature, it is about the adaptability. And they say that the adaptability is one of the most best criteria of LeadSquared, which helps in terms of understanding, because people love to use it. The more you use it, the more benefit it gives across to you. So if I have to request your opinion in terms of how the adaptability of LeadSquared platform has helped to make sure that it gives the sales recommendation to the agent, which in terms make sure that the business is done.
Yeah, so there's somewhat I'll try to answer it in that way, because every vertical is involved into this, and we boast about having a very strong marketing and sales team around it. So basically how it really helps is that capturing the information at each and every level. So whenever a site visit also happens or a closure happens. So that sort of information is also integrated, that okay, what sort of consumers are getting into the decision making finally, and how further the system can be refined. That is also one of the important thing. Even that leads to a lot of communication changes on on the fly, certain strategic changes also, that how the quality of the closures can be fast enough. And the scoring, as I said, basis that it keeps on changing real time, and it really as I said, BANT is also one of the criteria, but at a front end level, if you talk about direct sales, the scoring and the segmentation that really allows the whosoever is the telecaller or the internal team who is getting into the customer interaction has an overall view. So as we work on an omni-channel platform, so it's important that okay, what sort of information is very critical for having the next level of discussion, and whether the customer is ripe enough right now and he will be able to take a decision call. So this is that the rating goes up and down, and whatever, because the verbatim is very, very critical for us. So that intel is also put into the system, and then it allows us to get to the right segment of customers, or in fact there is a order of the customers also, which we follow, wherein this person lives very, very close to the project, and he has certain requirements which is more into what you can say, he is ready for the decision making and he wants the next level of certain clarity around it. So with that deep level, we get into the customer, and because of that sorting, it really helps to quickly reach the right customer, in fact say, and at the right time. So that is where it really helps.
Yeah, so the other point here in the entire journey of a customer in real estate, one is response. You talk to him, you nurture, you give the information, but the proof of the pudding or the sale happens, or you really take that customer seriously when there is a site visit done. Without the site visit, it doesn't make sense. Now, I'm sure in pandemic it would not have been possible because it was not there. But apart from the pandemic, I mean the normal times, I'm sure that site visit is one of the dipstick which helps to make sure that this customer will take it, not take it, or he's going to buy it across or not. So the particular feature, the mobile app feature of LeadSquared, which helps to ensure, which equips the sales guys at the site offices to welcome the customer, talk to the customer, ensure that they give the proper information to the customer, and once the site visit is over, they send across the relevant brochure or the drip communication, whatever is required from your end. So I'm sure you would have used this particular feature now after the pandemic is over, whereby you will ensure, I mean, this actually gives the following benefits. One, it ensures that the sales guy is at the field level, he is at the site, the customer has come in, and he has ensured that the site visit has happened because this is geofencing, this is a geo marking, and it ensures that that particular sales guy has been there. B, it also updates your platform with the site visit, which helps you that what are the questions the customer has at the site. C, you also ensure that the sales guy has taken care of the customer and there is no loose ends. So this particular feature kind of fortifies the entire sales cycle, the lead cycle of the customer. My request here is that if you can just round off this particular point, how it has helped you in terms of your sales guys ensuring that the lead has come to site visit after the pandemic, and how in Q4 we largely will talk about how it has happened in JFM.
So Venu, interesting point, but critical is that how the transition, because for me it is a transition wherein the first level of discussion has happened and the customer is now moving towards the actual site. So that transition is very important because he undergoes a journey, and whether that is where I was saying whether the correct set of information is being transferred to the site, wherein the next level of communication starts with a pre-intimation that okay, this is where the customer understanding is, and this is where the customer is seeking more clarity, and this is the overall understanding of consumer, and there also the scoring and everything really helps. So that is very important, that the transition should happen well, and if the transition happens well, then the consumer gets to know the right thing at the right time there at the site also, and then his decision making is very simple. So that really helped to simplify the decision of a customer. Second thing is also very important, that as soon as because it's a customer journey, we strongly believe that it's not that when a customer is out of sight, the customer is out of the decision making. It's about the persistent follow up, the right, because see, if he's interested, might be there is something which the customer might not have voiced out well. So then the next level of interaction, or the what you can say, as you said, the brochures and all, but it's more and more above the brochures. It's about that, to understand the further requirement and what are the feedback after a site visit, wherein the customer really opens up further, and then again the next level of discussion can happen. So it really also allows us to get into the second level of discussion after a site visit. A lot of closures happen after first level or second level or third level of interaction. So that is where we strongly have a platform wherein a customer journey is tracked till the last mile. He might not be taking a decision today, but he might take later on, and all these information really helps. So this is also a key critical, that how the transition happened, how was the what you can say, communication and detailing at the site, and thereafter how we follow well with the customer and get to a final journey, closure of the journey.
Because the point here is that most of the in real estate, the most important is site visit. We always say that response to leads to site visit to closures. I mean, that's the metric we always track. So site visit is where we always try to understand whether this customer has come to the site. So how do we ensure that the customer details are taken? How do we ensure that our sales guys are there? How do we ensure that the sales guys given the proper information? How do we ensure that the proper data has been shared? I mean, this particular application nullifies all the doubts, ensures that all that issues are cleared out, so that the features which are there in the mobile, geofencing to geo-tracking to geo-marking, helps that the customer as well as our sales team is there to ensure the proper handshake is done. Most of the real estate players and most of the customers who are talking to us, they're very interested in this, because this is one of our best USPs which helps, and this is vetted to the platform. So the information which is done here, which is updated here, is real-time updated in the platform, and that actually helps in terms of, and let's say there's no internet connection at any point of time, you can update it, but once the net connection is there, it automatically updates the platform. So that's one of the best USP which helps in terms of closing the loop ends here. So thanks about that. And coming to in terms of the aggregators, so I'm sure that you would be using different aggregators in terms of what you put across, which helps you in terms of pushing the leads to your platform. And this is the just a synopsis of your business across the country. So I'm sure that you will put across a word of point saying that how technology helped in terms of making sure this has happened.
So Venu, it's very simple, that we might put a lot of intel in getting into the generation across different channels, but it's also very critical to evaluate it at the real time and also make real time changes into it. So that requires a good platform wherein we should be able to track the performance, and it's not only into a direct conversion sort of thing, it's also that what is the pulse of the consumer which is coming in, and why any one single lead is not getting converted into it. So the real-time tracking, I think system allows us to quickly give us the performance report, and it's not a single dimension or a 2D. It allows into multi-dimensional analysis of the what you can say, all the leads which are getting generated or which are coming through different channels, channel-wise, then integrating. And as I said, further we have integrated with a lot of our different systems also, so that the multi-dimensional output can be further amplified. So then it really works out well, wherein on the fly, again, as I said, we do changes, we enhance certain channels. Okay, this sort of, so this is where I say that it cannot be a single communication across every channel. Every channel is consumed by different segments, so and different segment has different set of requirements. So it's about targeting the right content at the from the right channel to the right segment. So report evaluation is very critical here, and if the reports are across multi-dimension, that it really allows to get into the real-time changes in the system.
Fantastic. Ashish, one more question from our side. You would have definitely used the report features in our platform, which gives you reports in terms of different requirement as defined by you. So I'm sure that comes in handy in terms of reviews and analyses, in terms of getting the intelligence to which goes into different departments in terms of project planning to finance also. So how frequently do you use this reports from our platform?
No, that's the lifeline. As I said, that it's very critical. Data can be in abundance, but how it has to be evaluated, it has to be read. That is where business intelligence is required. Good enough that we have been able to customize a lot of things. I think we have undergone a lot of customization, a lot of customized reporting has been made, and maximum real-time sort of analysis. So it really helps because, as I told, collecting a lot of information cannot be an issue. It is just like, okay, you connect with you get a lot of information about anyone. It's about that how this information is translating into business and how it has to be pointing towards that what tools or what next action you have to do so that the translation happens. So for that, of course, report is very critical. Customization has been done, a lot of customization, integration with a lot of other reports with our internal systems, some other information which other channels or other verticals are gathering. So mixed together, this report really helps us, and it's on the fly. So as soon as somebody walks in, as somebody says something about it, as soon as a lead comes, there are multiple ways. As soon as some interaction with the customer anywhere has happened, as soon as some consumer is booking, so all this information goes into the system real time, and that allows us to integrate with all different channels. So a lot of systems fail to integrate. There are different boxes, or you can say different different levels of consumers. So system generally treat like that, but it allowed us to integrate everything. It's not only at a lead level or an account level or what you can say a discussion level. It's about integrating from the start to the business translation, and seeing in a one view, as I said, multi-dimensionally allows us to quickly take a decision and get into more of the business translation.
Ashish, thanks a lot. I mean, really, I would appreciate the way you use the platform, and the results are here. You've done an awesome. Hats off to the entire team. If you can, Shivani, if you can take questions from the viewers.
Sure. So the first question is for Ashish, and the question is from Rishabh. He says, what sort of trends have you been seeing that companies are really implementing or taking up in the last couple of months?
So, but Shivani, I just wanted clarity from Rishabh that in what sense he's asking for the trends, for the technology trends, or because a lot of companies have started getting, if I say it correctly, if I seen PropTech has emerged during this time, people have resorted to various channels of, be it digital mediums, getting into virtual reality, getting into virtual meetings with the customer. For that, a good platform is required, wherein the actual visibility of the product is into the right sense. So that is where I'm seeing a lot of upsurge.
Okay, Rishabh, if you had anything else in mind specifically, please do share that. In the meantime, I'm moving to the next question, which was about the human tech part that you talked about, Ashish. So in terms of human tech, so obviously, and I'm just elaborating for him, but what he means is, people invested in technology, but at the same time that you kept it was important for your organization to ensure that the human connect was also part of it. But in terms of budgets, let's say, roughly what sort of budgets would you keep aside to invest in technology and at the same time keep the human side alive, or
So very interesting. As my CEO said in one of the conversation, that you should have a good plane, but the pilot is the key person who will be responsible while it also flies on auto mode. Okay, so Budget is separate. Most important is that how the business translation and the evaluation is done well. Okay, it's all about understanding that whether this technology really fits your requirement, and this actually is going to help into business translation. A lot of people have there are n number of technologies or system in the market. Okay, but it's very important, and that is where the business intelligence is key critical thing, and that is where human tech is very important. And the correct and experts for every field, and understanding that technology is very important. Technology, see, it's about whatever you are putting in, you'll be getting out. The way you have to use it, for that you need to have a very strong business intel, and that is where I'm saying budget. More important than budget is that whether the translation and the output can be taken out, and if that sensing and business intel is well, there's no harm. The technologies are n in number. We have that's why focused hard on business intel. That is our strong thing, wherein, because as I said, be it this system or having a good big data system tool, or what level of machine learning, till what level it has to go. So it's an important and interesting mix which we also have invested in. Machine learning is key critical thing and upcoming, wherein we have invested a lot. And machine learning is something wherein, yes, what sort % of human intervention is required, and where the machine can also automatically do by their own with whatever information or data is being fed into the system. It's not about collecting data, as I told, and putting something on budgets, more budgets on getting data. It's about how you are utilizing it and whether it is making sense. I hope I have been able to answer.
Yes, please do let us know. I am moving on with the questions because I see the time here. So moving on to Kapil's question, he says, what kind of info should be given to clients? I mean, how brief should it be?
Okay, Kapil, thanks. It's an interesting question. As I said, first of all, we should know that, okay, what is his prospect's requirement? So I was talking about a different stage of a consumer, whether he's budget ready, his authorities level, his need level, or his timeline level. So basis that, the info has to be quantified and then to be communicated. And further into any of the real estate product, if you say, as I say, the customer might be, and these are all indirect pulses that requires a lot of business intel and quality intervention. Because when the first question is asked, we generally say in sales that there is a buying question. So a lot of people say where it is located. Somebody can say what is the price, or somebody can say, is there a swimming pool in this project? So it clearly should give a ticker and understanding that, okay, if somebody is asking about the price, he's more interested into the financial proposition, financial product planning of that, wherein the communication should be more direct. Somewhere it has to be talking more about the amenities line. Somewhere it has to be talking more on his what you can say, how the location is important for him, because he might not have understood. So that is where the communication has to start, and it has to be very elaborative, because the more consumer is clear, that is where a lot of people do a mistake in terms of giving a very precise sort of information. The information has to be very clear. It has to be and captured well also. And information clarity means his what you can say, the basic questions have to be answered. He has to be clear, and he has to be also clear what is the next thing he is supposed to do, and how the entire journey will be there. So it's all about mapping, the brain mapping, wherein if the communication, I'm able to plant the entire house in his mind. He understands well that, okay, this is my future home gonna be, this is where it is, and this is how I have to move ahead.
Okay, Kapil, if there are any follow-up questions, please ask. I'm moving to Saurabh's question, who says, how CP can take an advantage of the system?
I
don't understand the question, please, but
indirect distribution is very important. Of course, anybody can take use of any system. As I told in the last one of the answers in the question also, is that if the intelligence is there, what is, first of all, everybody has to evaluate that what is the output which we are expecting from the system. If you are clear that what I am requiring, a lot of times the requirements are not clear, and system to a lot of people can take, but then what is the requirement which you want to drive? As we strongly believe business translation is the key. It's not about generating quantum of leads or leads at a very cheap cost. It's about the translation. So for translation, a lot of intelligence will be required. Other systems might also be required. So as we have heavily invested on the big data tool and machine learning, so that also really helps. But a platform like a good CRM, wherein an omni-channel experience can help anybody, because a journey tracking from A to Z is very important. So if sorry, I missed the name, Shivani.
It's Saurabh.
So a lot of times we just interact with the customer, and the customer, the first call only or a first interaction only, we end the call there if the customer sounds a little bit of not interested. But a good platform really helps you to have that sort of flexibility, wherein okay, today he might not be interested, but when the interest level can be generated, he might not be able to take the decision now. When he will be taking a decision, because a customer not necessarily will close the deal today, and that can be a very long journey, but a good system allows you to track till lifelong. And as I say, with a lot of business intel, it is very much possible that today, if he's not able to close, it might get closed after 6 months or 1 year, and that sort of long journey tracking is very critical. And it's not only about one deal, it's about his real estate life cycle, that he is taking his first home or an upgrade, understanding whether his commercial requirement is there. He should now move to a luxury upgrade. He should be buying a land also. Now he should get into a different sort of buying of real estate product. So that sort of intelligence has to be applied.
Okay. I'm quickly going to take two more questions here. So this one's from Kumaraswamy, who says, "Hi Ashish, does Xanadu plan to have walkthrough VR content creation as part of their platform?"
So sorry, Shivani, can you repeat?
Yeah, it was from Kumaraswamy, who says, "Hi Ashish, does Xanadu plan to have walkthrough in brackets VR content creation as part of the platform?"
Yeah, Kumaraswamy, as I told that technology, there are multiple technologies, but not every segment or not every set of consumers will be, it will be palatable to all. So we very intelligently classify and qualify different set of customers accordingly. There is a segment, of course, who have evolved a lot. And during pandemic, with the millennial sort of people also getting into the real estate, so those are the best segment wherein this sort of technologies really excite them, and they really want to explore and can take a decision quickly on these platforms. So that's also an important part. So because we have a very good and a very huge portfolio mix, so we are doing multiple projects across different categories. So it's not only aspirational or affordable category, we are into luxury category and everywhere, and very varied range of customer segmentation is there. So it's as per the customer segment. So but key advice is that it's not one for all. So that's one thing which has to be understood well, and it has to be through a lot of intelligence, that okay, which segment will be more receptive towards this particular channel or the way of interaction with the consumer.
Sure. Okay. Next question is from Shankar, and I think Venu, you can take this up first maybe, and then if Ashish wants to add to it. So Shankar says, "How long does it take to put in place the entire lead management system? Is it a ready-to-use software?"
Yeah, Shankar, hi. This is a ready-to-use software. In terms of putting it, in terms of usage, adaptability, it depends upon the number of users, the features you're selecting. And on an average, you have seen that it takes nothing less than 7 to 10 days. But we cannot make a generic statement. It depends upon the entire requirement and the understanding of the use case. Once it's clear, it will be done. But the best part here is that the adaptability is so easy, and we also ensure that we give a good amount of training for the users to get adapted to the system. And as a proof here is that Xanadu has used it across, and a live example where a firm has made a substantial difference in the entire business cycle. And Ashish will reply to the second part.
Yeah, so this is where I've been repeating it, is about how well you understand the business and how much intelligence you have applied. Best part is that the system is flexible enough. It allows you to make the changes. We have worked in terms of integration with big data tool and different other tools. We have refined the system, customized a lot, and got into a lot of detailing, and finally putting a score value, or at the front end making it much more simpler for the users. But at back end, of course, if you have a lot of intel, if you understand it, changes can be done. We have, and we are still doing and refining every time, and getting putting a lot of intel into the system, integrating with whatever information of a consumer we can collect from everywhere, and making it in a refined way, wherein all getting translated into the best of the business translation which can happen.
Okay, thank you. And the last question that I'll take for the day is from Kapil. He says, Ashish, a small challenge we are facing in some platform like Facebook, where the number of leads are more, but the quality is very low. How to address that? I mean, target audience. So I think it's essentially about the target audience and target.
Yeah, so that, of course, I'll try to answer it, Kapil, but that is where human tech, I was telling, our marketing and sales team, and kudos to our marketing team, because that is where the strong forte is. First of all, of course, we need to understand the target segment well. The content creation is the key critical thing, that whether you are able to make the content in the right way, and also it's not again one for all. So whether you are able to identify multiple segments of the customer, and not everybody will be on Facebook and quality lead will be generated. It's about that, whom to approach on Facebook, basis what criterias, and when to showcase, and the right content. So that is where human and business intelligence is key critical. The understanding that, okay, how the customer sees it and perceives it is very different. What we feel that, as we say, that generally the scoring pattern everywhere in every industry is like what we think is the right way, but we never think what the customer is understanding and what the customer requirement is and how he perceives. And text and context are very different thing. This is my strong belief, that a text message, if you send to 10 people, every person will have a different understanding of that. How you can make that text the best way, wherein maximum of the people have the same understanding, and the understanding which I want to give. That is the win-win and success criteria. So that requires actually an expert and a lot of business intel. And content, of course, you have to, those are the byproducts. Hopefully I am able to answer you, Kapil.
Yes. Okay, then I think I am going to end the session now. We are sort of, almost 10 minutes beyond the time. And I know a lot of you have been asking for the deck and the recording, and that will be shared with you also. Thank you so much, Ashish, for giving us your time. Thank you so much, Venu, again, for taking us through this presentation as well. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today. And we hope to see you back for another webinar at some point, maybe, or a roundtable, perhaps. So we hope to see you back there again.
Sure.
Yes,
Thank you, Shivani.
Ashish, thanks a lot. Really, thank you for the contribution and the conversation we had. It was excellent in terms of interacting with you. Thanks, Ian.
Same here, Venu. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shivani. Thanks to everyone who has been very.
Thanks to the viewers also. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, attendees, for joining us. If there are any LeadSquared users or customers out there, just a quick reminder that we have a products update webinar tomorrow at 3 p.m. So do join us for that. And we have one for developers also next week. So if you have developer friends, do ask them to join the session. Okay, I'm done. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Stay safe.
Stay safe.